not gonna put them, make them speak just for 2 minutes. They can talk longer. We're gonna hear from Arthur Goldstein, Nick Rodelli, and Matthew Doringo. Thank you very much. And they are on Zoom.
Hi, it's Arthur Goldstein here. I'm going to turn it over to Matthew Dorigo, a board member, and to Nick Rodelli, but appreciate that the council and EDC had a fabulous tour of the market last Friday, and we look forward to the conversation.
Shall I go next, Arthur? I'd be happy to.
Go ahead.
I'm
Thank
Matthew Dorigo. I am an owner of one of the 26 merchant firms at the Hunts Point Market. I've been coming here to work for 51 years now, since I was in high school. Growing up in this market, it's more of a home to me than my home, almost, I would say. The changes in our industry and the changes in our city and the changes in our food supply have been slow and steady over the years, and over the last, if you look at it every 5 years, you notice it, but you don't notice it day to day. Our market is 58 years old now. It's been a wonderful asset for the city of New York, and has done a tremendous job of distributing produce. The New York metropolitan area is a unique area for produce distribution because of the density of population, the high price of real estate. I heard a lot of talk about cold storage and things of that nature. It's a real challenge to find space. None of our small greengrocer customers have a lot of back room refrigeration, so they rely on our Hunts Point Market as their warehouse. The rebuild that we've been trying to get done for 25 years now, we have a real shot at it again. At this point, the size of the market and the size of the cold storage that would occur from the rebuild, I would think would be about a 50% increase. The new market is mapped out currently at 42,000 pallet positions. Our current 4 buildings, row A, B, C, D, have about 20,000 pallet positions, and there's about 8 or 10,000 pallets that are on the TRUs, the storage trailers that we use. The market has not been big enough to hold its inventory since the early 70s. We are a little bit of an overflow market, so there's always a bit of oversupply there, but it's also what drives bargains for the consumers. Produce is very much a supply-demand dominant business. Contracts and things like that do not impact our market. We are more a day-to-day trading place. Our customers come every day. They look for bargains. They negotiate very hard with our salesmen, and every day things work out, and sometimes prices go up, sometimes they go down. But we are a market of last resort. Therefore, we always have a little bit of an oversupply on, say, half of the commodities we sell, and a little bit of an undersupply on half the commodities we sell, just as an average over time. The relationship we have with our customers and with our city is symbiotic in nature. There would not be a Hunts Point Market the size that we have if there weren't thousands of small greengrocers that use us as their warehouse and survive because there's no super large supermarket chain around them competing. They rely on us for their supply. They shop 5 days a week. The market has maybe 2 or 3 days of supply in it before it runs out, and I would say our customers have about another day. So it's very, very fresh by necessity. You really can't do it any better, and I don't think you want to, because you want produce to stay fresh and you want it to turn over as quickly as possible. So the symbiosis has been around forever, and I don't anticipate it going anywhere unless the big banner chains figure out a way to battle the real estate business in New York and come in and invade our boroughs. There are a few examples of success, but I don't anticipate anything happening to our customer base or happening to the necessity of the Hunts Point market. I can go on and on and on here. There was talk about rail with barge and over-the-road trucks being weighed, and so I can answer any specific questions that anybody might want to, but I think I'll end my comments here.
Next.
I think you're the only one speaking from the market, right? Is that correct?
Think so, yes.
Okay. All right, thank you, and thank you for the wonderful hospitality.
Can you give us the top line issues facing the markets today and any primary requests around alleviating some of those concerns or top line issues?
Well, top line has always been that our market has not had adequate capacity to hold the inventory that the industry demands we take it on. And we don't turn down product because it really offers a downward price situation, which, you know, gives better options and opportunities for the consumer. So to me, number one, lack of capacity for storage. We've made up for that in large measure by the TRUs. Nobody likes those, including us. It puts a whole nother level of handling and cost into our business. Instead of take it off, bring it in, and then load it back out, we take it off, put it on a cold storage van, take it back on, put it in the warehouse. So you're moving things around unnecessarily. It would be wonderful to have a market where that does not happen, and the new rebuild would accomplish that. As far as other top line issues, the market's 58. It's a noble beast, but it's time for a dramatic redevelopment. I think our refrigeration is inefficient. I think there's ways to have much better efficiency and energy savings for the market, and you know, lower our overhead. But it's a fairly simple place, the market. So, you know, our top line needs are pretty much right in front, and I've just told you what those are.
Thank you. I appreciate your response.
The biggest question, of course, for the consumer is how we can lower prices, and obviously, I think that the quality stays pretty high, but prices are challenging. Obviously, the tariffs are making it even worse. So I was wondering if you felt the tariffs already, if you feel how it will impact, and, you know, I guess what we can do about it, if anything.
So the tariff question is going to have a couple of, I mean, this is just an opinion. I'm not an economist, and the economists can't agree on it in the first place. So we are a spot market. The tariffs short term, I think for sure, are going to raise prices, and it will also drive down consumption a little bit. But we're heading out of import season right now. So most, if not all, of our produce, with the exception of Canada, because Canada has year-round supply of hydroponic tomatoes and things like that. Mexico will finish with grapes and melons in May, and then they'll be done until next October or so, or earlier than that. They have tomatoes earlier than that. But the vast majority of our product for the next 6 months is going to be domestically grown. So the impacts of tariffs will only be on inputs to growing, and I cannot think of any other inputs off the top of my head. So over the next 6 months, we're going to get a pass. Then when you get back into import season, if the tariff war is still going on, you'll see less imports coming because the importers will have had full warning. Right now, the importers are getting caught flat-footed. They've got deals that suddenly are going to have a tariff attached to them if it happens, and that's never good. So there'll be some money lost at the import level. But next year, the money will be lost at the grower level in the other countries where the product is being produced. And so there'll be a lot of scrambling and contracts and how the business is going to be done. What that means to the Hunts Point market is almost we're on the sideline because we take positions day to day, so nothing's going to sneak up on us and get us for a long period of time. But it will create, I think, in general, a little higher priced market structure for produce next fall through winter and into spring as the import season unfolds. I think this summer, if there are higher prices, I think it's more from Mother Nature creating shortages and things of that nature.
Councilmember Avila.
Hi there, thank you so much for your testimony. I was curious about the capacity issue that you were talking about, and obviously using the TRUs to try to address it. So I represent the area that includes Brooklyn Marine Terminal, and we talk a lot about cold storage. Do you need this cold storage on site, or would a southern location that could be used through barge service help to alleviate some of that challenge that you're facing with storage capacity?
Speaking personally from the Bronx perspective, the market redevelopment will go a long way to solving our capacity issues. New York is expensive. I always have thought that the oversupply that comes into our market might be better off being handled in New Jersey at a cold storage for 17 cents a square foot rather than 32 or whatever it is, although we don't pay it, but that's what the market would dictate normally. But if you had cold storage in other boroughs, like in Brooklyn, I would urge that the city tries to keep it privatized, because I do think that the one size fits all and the kind of rigid structure that would develop from a public project, I think it would be overbuilt, frankly. So the Brooklyn produce market, there's merchants there. I think that's a good place to start about whether they need a redevelopment, because that market might even be older than our market. There's, I think, almost no hope at the individual greengrocer level, except for maybe small business loans to get some infrastructure there. But if you've got the 25 merchants in the Hunts Point market, a adequate refrigeration system, which the new market would do, I think a whole lot would develop that would be very positive. I think it would add shelf life to the product, add freshness to the product, and generally be very, very beneficial to the industry. I'm not really sure I answered your question very well.
No, it's a helpful. No, thank you. Your response is helpful. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
I think that's it. We really appreciate that. We had a great tour. Much thanks to your colleague, and we love the bananas. We love the bananas.
Could I just interrupt for 1 minute, council member? The Councilman Brewer salad washing machine.
Yes. Well, how are we doing with that?
I will single-handedly spearhead the RFP to find the processing company to come into the market and work there. It would be, I will tell you this, it would be done by a firm and not by the market, because that's a highly specialized business and you need a processing company to do it. But we don't have one in there, and we could sure use one, so I think you're onto something.
You have made my day, you've made my family's day, you've made my history. I have this stupid little machine that they gave me from EDC from 20 years ago on my counter at home. I forgot to bring it in. You can't imagine, and thank you. I have no words.
They're anything from little in the industry. They're very sizable, and
we're gonna make
they're serious.
a big one privately done. Thank you so much.
You got it.
Okay, thank you very much for your testimony, and we will be working together. It's gonna be called after you, Nick. Thank you so much. Stephen Katzman. We've also been joined online by Councilmember Ressler. Matthew Durego, if you want to come on. Oh, you were just finished. We're looking for Stephen Katzman.
I'm here. I am here.
You can begin your testimony.
Go ahead,
Not sure
sir.
what not sure what I'm supposed to be saying.
Well, whatever you wanted to talk about the market, the current and future, anything to do with food in our city, food production.
Production? Get Arthur. You're muted.
Thank you. Just to bring Steve up to speed, he was in a meeting. So Matthew DeRigo basically did the overview and answered specific questions. So if the council members have any further questions, Steve Katzman is one of the co-presidents of the produce market. Steve, just want to mention the few years that you've been at the market as an overview.
I think we're okay, Arthur, but thank you very much. And thank him also for his participation. Thank you. So coming to the podium, please, Adiz Oakley from Rethink Food, one of our favorite organizations. Ray Gomez from the Fulton Street, Brooklyn, and Anita Lee